Hello everyone, welcome back to Pharmaceutical Concepts. Let us start with our next question. This question is from NIPER exam. Which of the following drug assays involves back titration methods? And these are the names of the drugs. Okay, so let us see one by one. Paracetamol. As per IP 2018, paracetamol assay involves serimetry titration. Okay, where we are using 0.1 molar steric ammonium sulfate as a titrant. Okay, but whether it is back titration or not, let us see. So we dissolve this much amount of drug in the solvent. This is also 50 ml. We boil, reflux, and then see here we are adding HCl, ferroin, and then we are directly titrating with steric ammonium sulfate. Okay, and we carry out a blank titration also. So here back titration is not there. Whatever drug we are taking in the conical flask, that we are treating, we are doing some treatments on the drug which is there in the conical flask, and we are directly titrating that drug solution with the titrant. Okay, so it's a pretty direct serimetric titration. Let us see second. Okay, acetazolamide. So as per IP 2014, this drug is been titrated with 0.1 molar tetrabutyl ammonium hydroxide. See here, drug is weighed, it is added in suitable solvent, and then it is directly titrated with 0.1 molar tetrabutyl ammonium hydroxide. Okay, this is the potentiometric titration, and a blank titration is also carried out here. So this is also direct alkalimetric non-aqueous titration. Let us see third option, nifedipine. This is also again an example of serimetry. The fourth option is N-acetyl salicylic acid, which is aspirin. So as per IP 2014, it is the example of acid-base titration where the drug is treated with 0.5 molar sodium hydroxide. The factor, if you see here, that factor is given as 1 ml of 0.5 molar sodium hydroxide is equivalent to this much amount of drug. But see, the sodium hydroxide is not there in the burette. In the burette, we are titrating the excess alkali. So excess sodium hydroxide we are titrating with HCl. Okay, so this drug aspirin is first treated with this sodium hydroxide. This sodium hydroxide is added in flask. This is present in the conical flask. This is in excess. Okay, so NaOH is reacting with an aspirin, and the remaining NaOH, okay, remaining NaOH, because we have added it in excess, remaining NaOH is then titrated with HCl. So this HCl is there in the burette. Okay, so we call this as the example of back titration. Okay, so here hence the option D is the correct option. Let us move ahead. A compound of molecular formula, this exhibits spectral characteristics. So IR data is given to us, that is all wave numbers are given in centimeter inverse. Lambda max of the drug is given to 80 nanometers, and then NMR data is provided. Okay, NMR data may we have these delta values, the multiplicity is given, and then the number of hydrogens are also given. So this is one peak, second peak, and then third peak. Okay, data of 3 peaks is given here. Then M by Z value is given for the molecular ion. Okay, and we have to identify among these four which one is the correct answer. So let us see one by one. Okay, so let me first write the structures of all these. So 3-methyl benzamide. Okay, so these are the four structures which have been asked. Now if you see here, the data says 3, 1 and 5. So 3, 1, 4 and 5, 9 hydrogens. Okay, 9 hydrogens. So almost 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hydrogens here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 here also. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 hydrogens here. So this D structure, D option is now out of the options. Okay, so it is not the correct answer because it has only 8 hydrogens. Let us see among these three. Okay, so let very characteristic we can see here. Okay, the chemical shift value around 6.8 to 7.6 with multiplet and 5 hydrogen. So this combination, okay, this combination of 6.8 to 7.6 multiplet and 5 hydrogens tells us that this data is for the aromatic protons. Okay, aromatic protons means what? Means protons which are present on the ring. That means as per this data, the ring which is there, that ring has 5 hydrogens. 5 hydrogens means they could be anywhere 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means at this position there is some substitution, right? That means the structure which is fulfilling or justifying this data, that structure is mono substituted. So here look at option A, this is di substituted, so this is gone from the from our choice now. Even option C, this is also di substituted, so this is also gone. So what is remaining is B, acetanilide. Okay, because this is the only mono substituted structure. So let us cross check. Okay, 3 hydrogens are giving me singlet. So where are the 3 hydrogens I see? These are the 3 hydrogens which are chemically equivalent. So they are giving the same peak, and since these 3 hydrogens, they do not have any hydrogen on the adjacent carbon, so of course they are giving me singlet. And then this one hydrogen, okay, this is giving broad singlet. So broad singlet means it could be NH or it could be OH. So this is the one hydrogen which is giving broad singlet, because this nitrogen has adjacent side this carbon and on this side one more carbon, but both of them, they do not have hydrogen. Okay, so that means this is also a singlet. Then these 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 hydrogens, okay, of the aromatic, okay, ring, of the benzene ring. So that's it. Option B is the correct option here. What is the use of UV circular dichroism spectroscopy? Oh, very nice explanation I have found for this particular topic here on this side, which says circular dichroism is an absorption spectroscopy, and it uses circularly polarized light to investigate structural aspects of the optically active chiral medium. Okay, and it also says that UVCD is used to determine aspects of protein secondary structures. So if you want to read more, you can go through this site. That is, investigation confirmation of secondary structure of proteins is one of the uses of UV circular dichroism spectroscopy. Next, ghost peak in chromatography generally arises due to which of the following options? Okay, if you ask me what are the ghost peaks, okay, in chromatography, so in chromatography ghost peaks are the contaminant peaks. Okay, peaks which arise due to contamination. Okay, that means when no sample is injected, still the peaks are appearing. Those are the contaminant peaks. The primary cause of ghost peak is the dirty column or dirty pre-column, we must say dirty pre-column or dirty column also. Bad detector is one of the reasons of the ghost peak. Then next important cause of ghost peak appearance is the impure mobile phase. Okay, and one of the very most common reason for the ghost peak is column shedding during injection. Okay, and to lesser degrees it is coming from the filters, frits, injectors, tubings. Okay, such sheddings will are responsible for the ghost peaks. So among these options, okay, the options say mobile phase, gradient system, pump system. So it is saying mobile phase, but this is not the correct option because they have not written here impure mobile phase. The plain mobile phase will not cause appearance of ghost peak. So the reason, correct answer here is answer A, that is septum leaching effect. So something is leaching out and that is passing along with the mobile phase into the column and reaches to the detector, so that its peak is appearing here in the chromatogram. So option A is the correct option. Next question is detector used in IR spectroscopy. These are the various names of detectors which we have heard: thermocouple, Geiger-Müller counter, PMT, flame ionization detector. Among these four, which one is used in IR spectroscopy? This is pretty direct question. Let us see thermocouples. These are the thermal detectors which are used in IR instruments, specially used for longer IR wavelengths. It detects voltage induced at junction of two dissimilar material. Its construction includes bismuth antimony coating with metal oxide. Now next is Geiger counter, next option, and it is an instrument used for detecting and measuring ionizing radiation. It detects ionizing radiation such as alpha particles, beta particles and gamma rays using ionization effect. Okay, so the Geiger-Müller counter or Geiger-Müller tube is, you must have heard it in XRD, okay, where it measures the ionizing radiations. Next is PMT, which is the short form for photomultiplier tube. Okay, it is mainly used, one of the sensitive detectors of light in ultraviolet, visible and near infrared ranges of electromagnetic spectrum. And the last option was flame ionization detector. This detector is mainly used to detect the analytes in gas stream. So gas stream means in gas chromatography it is very commonly used. Okay, very sensitive detector which is used in gas chromatography. Okay, so the answer is quite straightforward here. The option A, thermocouples, are the detectors used in IR spectroscopy. I hope you have understood the content. If you like the content, do subscribe my channel and also please click the bell icon for more updates on my channel. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. All the best.